Hey everybody, welcome to DivaDads episode 33. We have a fantastic show planned and a wonderful guest that will be on here in a bit. I'm Dana Martin.
I'm Rodney Bettis.
And I'm Adrienne Dobson. Hi everybody. How you doing?
How is everybody? I'll ask you first because you're in the middle of a drink and you do that crap to me all the time.
Me or Rodney? Me. Yeah. I'm great. I'm great. I'm a little tired. It's been a really long week. But I'm happy to be hanging out with you guys tonight and happy to be talking to Hannah today.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Rodney.
Shout out to Madeline McLevis Shoes and John, who gave me this for Christmas. It says extra. And they're also getting married tomorrow.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yay.
I saw the engagement, but I didn't realize that the date was so nigh upon us.
She is, yeah, they're going for it. For anyone who doesn't know, he is in the military and he is going to Germany on like February 5th. So yeah, they're locking that down. Just kidding. No, I'm excited for them. They're very, very sweet together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But you guys,
I like him a lot. He gets the dad approval.
Yeah, I mean, especially after Rocky. So. 100%.
Oh yeah,
100%.
What a champ!
Yeah, just
Here,
doing it.
On...
I looked at him at one point, and I was like, that dude's just as lost as I am right now. That's amazing. But
I just love
just
that
kept going.
He allowed her to dress him. Here, John, put on this ripped shirt. Sure. Put on this mini skirt. Sure.
Oh my gosh.
Let's accidentally shave your head. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh
champ.
my gosh.
All that military training is going to come in handy.
Say yes, ma'am.
So that's
yes,
funny
sir.
because my uncle, who was 20 years in the Army, y'all met him, Uncle Sam. He was talking about how for his entire military career, he was told what to wear and told where to go. And he said when he was married here to my Aunt Wanda, she was like, "Are you gonna wear that to wherever they were going?" And he goes, I haven't had to dress myself in 20 years. You lay out my clothes, I'll put on whatever you tell me to wear. And so to this day, after, however many years of marriage, that's what she does. She lays out his clothes for him. Not because he can't, but because he just is like, you just tell me, I don't even care. It's amazing. Amazing.
If you can cut down the number of decisions you have to make in the day, I'm all for it.
100%.
Yeah. I agree. So how was y'all's week?
Mine was good. I got to hang out with one of my favorite people last night, Dustin Kemp.
Thank God, I thought you were about to say Mike Kilgore, and no,
I thought he was going to say me.
Oh.
Well, I didn't. You were there. You weren't supposed to be there. It was supposed to be a mystery. No,
I texted some people. I was like, could you hear me the whole time? And they were like, oh, yeah, the whole time.
I listened back to it and I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know why she even bothered. Like, she's closer to the microphone and everything. So
we didn't realize it.
It's fine. It's fine.
So why were you hanging out with Dustin?
Yes, but it was super awesome to hang out with Dustin and with Adrienne. And then, of course, Mike came in at the end. Or actually right in the middle, just like a lost puppy.
Yeah.
But we were able to, have a good conversation about, what's happening with the theater, and there's lots of cool stuff happening. So we're excited about that. So,
Dana, my mom says your sound is off and on. I don't know what that means.
My sound is off and on.
Sound is off and on. So I'm going to let you take a look at that, and I'll talk about theater news since that's what Rodney was getting into. So theater news, we had an open forum yesterday for our actors and volunteers to talk a little bit about our plans. So our plans, which now we've officially announced, is we're going to get back in the swing of things. But you want to say something to test it out?
I want to say something to test it out.
Okay. You're so creative. Have I ever told you that?
Thank you.
So we're kicking things off. Mom, let us know how that worked. We're kicking things off with a purely virtual show. We're doing the last 5 years with David Moreno and Christina Freeman. Very excited about that. It'll be available on demand, so you can watch it just like Hamilton. It's going to be awesome. The second thing that we are doing is we are hopefully going to be staging Tuck Everlasting with as much of the original cast as possible, hopefully outdoors, but we will let you guys know as soon as that is ready to go. And then after that, we have a couple of sneaky junior shows, but the cool thing about being a community theater right now is that we have the ability to have adults audition for the junior shows. So we've got a couple of shows that we had actually purchased last summer to use for our kids camps that we're going to be doing now, and everybody's welcome. It's going to be great. And then we're going to finish up the season. So we'll have It Should Have Been You. We're going to have The Wedding Singer, which, bummer, Sarah Black was supposed to choreograph The Wedding Singer, but she and her husband are likely moving in May. So
What?
I know.
This was not TTCDivaDads approved or DD approved.
Same thing with Daniel Hill. Shame on Daniel Hill.
What?
He and his wife are also moving in June. Yeah, last night we had a lot of people texting, asking questions, and then also, oh, sorry, I'm moving. That's terrible. Terrible. The other bit of theater news is that we're finally kicking off like a permanent youth program, which is really exciting. Officially starts February 1st with our high school kids, but registration opens on Monday. And you can find out all that information on Instagram and on our Facebook page, but registration opens on Monday, and we can't have that many people. So if you want to come, better get on that on Monday. Questions, thoughts, concerns, comments?
Excitement.
We also had a few people already step up to offer scholarships for said youth program. So that's cool.
That's
If you out there in the world, if you're one of our 7 listeners, if you want to, contribute to that, then, you can help sponsor
We have
somebody.
9 listeners or 9 sponsors?
9 concurrent listeners.
It would be
right
awesome.
now.
Yeah, if it was one and the same, that would be awesome. But anyway.
Oh, my dad just responded. He says it's mom that's on and off. I don't know what that means. So
It's a good thing it's your birthday, Terry.
someone's here with the jokes today. Also, I might be echoing. Am I echoing?
No, the echo was me echoing what you. It's David. Come on, wait.
No. Oh my gosh. And my dad just says, "Are mom and me the only ones watching, y'all?"
No,
No.
I just said
No.
Dad,
people.
we have 9.
10.
Oh, there's 10.
10.
There are 10 listeners. 10 subscribers. Actually, make sure you guys are actually subscribed to this because that's important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know that
So
I'm
that's-
subscribed to it.
Oh my God.
Of course not.
Of course not. You didn't even like us on Instagram until like a month ago. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. So that's theater news. It's exciting, but also my mom, what?
We also need people to help clean up the theater. Speaking of theater news.
Yes.
Allegedly starts in the morning. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I have no idea. I haven't seen the stuff that the sign
I have
up
not
thing.
seen Slack yet to see what.
I know
the
Matt was
conversation
there. He was there printing off assignment sheets, but I don't know that anyone's coming, which is what's concerning to me. Yeah. It's going to be fun. Hi. Hi. Speaking of, okay, so the youth program, we've got like special guests that are going to be popping in to assist and to do some speeches and talk to the kids. And Hanna Shihdanian is going to be one of them. So yeah,
Oh, cool.
we'll talk about that too. All right. What's next?
Oh, we're already getting into the RPB.
Yes.
So Roger Pine breakdown this week. I'll have to look at it because I can't remember. It's too long. How to succeed in business without really trying.
Hey there, Diva
Oh
Dads.
no!
Oh no, it's Kate.
Oh my goodness.
It's not Kate. It was Jennifer.
Oh.
How to succeed in business without ever trying. Without really trying.
Thank you.
How to succeed in business without really trying is, I'm going to go with probably like late 70s workplace comedy. And so you can bet that there's probably some questionable gender politics in there. As far as the plot goes, I'm guessing it's like some sales people at a publishing company or an advertising company, because all creative people only write about advertising and publishing companies when they write about business. And yeah, I don't know what the plot is. Maybe it's a couple people trying to get ahead and get a promotion, and then wacky hijinks come out of that, and of course questionable gender politics, and I'm guaranteeing that's part of it. How to succeed in business without really trying.
So much of that was correct. Also, the quality of his video that he sent me was, I don't know what happened with that one, but it wasn't good. So he's not wrong that it is like, it's, yes, the business. The business is that they sell widgets. That's kind of the joke, is that like their business means nothing. But it's about one guy, J. Pierpont Finch, who reads a book. He's like a window washer at the top of the musical. And he reads a book that says how to succeed in business without really trying. And it's essentially him manipulating and like, slip sliding his way up to the very, very top without knowing anything about the business or about business. Meanwhile, he falls in love, and like gender politics. Yes. One of the songs in the show is literally called "A Secretary Is Not a Toy."
Well, some of the guys back then needed that kind of instruction.
It's very much a Mad Men mentality in the musical. Like, a secretary is not a toy. I mean, it's really great. That's the musical that at the theater company we talk about when Randy gave his whole speech about, you could lose a toe if you're drinking at the theater or before the theater. That was that speech. We ruined that show for him. But, good times. It's a great show. It, like, Fosse did the choreography.
Of course he did.
It's a movie, which is hilarious. The movie's fantastic. And then they revived it with Harry Potter, with Daniel Radcliffe. And like Nick Jonas went on to play the role. If you look up their Tony performance, that dancing is fire. We did it at the high school too, with Beth Creel directing, and it was fantastic. It was so good.
I watched Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde last night. Or Jekyll
David
and Hyde.
Hasselhoff?
Yes.
Don't hassle the
David Hasselhoff. Okay, can I give an honest review of this thing? Has anyone seen it?
Bless you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Okay. He wasn't that great.
No.
Shocking.
At all. I'm trying to be very PC about it in case the Hoff ever ends up on our show. I want to be able to.
I think you're fine.
What? Speaking of the Hoff ending up on the show. What's up, brother?
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
All right.
I'm just glad that we finally got a strong athletic skater.
I
here
know.
on
Did you and Mr. Hawk just come back from a wine tasting? Is that what's happening with?
Yeah, me and Tony, we came back from Napa. So.
God. Anyways,
yeah.
I looked over at Maddie at the end, and I go, I don't know if I enjoyed this or not. Like, I was very indifferent to it, but there are a couple of songs in that musical that I loved. I absolutely love. Mostly whatever Lucy is singing, character Lucy is singing. But I think
you
mentioned Jekyll and Hyde, right? That you've seen it in. When you called me last night, I was in the middle of it. Thanks for interrupting. But I thought, I needed to get your take on the Constance performance.
Ooh.
He's not even paying attention.
You talking about me?
No.
He's
Mike, I swear to God, I'm literally talking to you.
Oh, Constance, realist.
Constantine.
Constantine. Yes, Constantine.
Yeah, I met him in New York. We both went to Waitress together. So, took a picture of him. He's on my Insta.
Jekyll and Hyde. Focus, man.
Oh, Jekyll and Hyde.
Did you see that
Yes,
with him?
He did. No. I didn't get to go see that. I didn't get to go see him. And that was back in 2014, 15. It was like right after Rock of Ages, I think.
Okay.
So he went running back. Huh? I'm fangirling over him.
So you have not seen Jekyll and Hyde?
I came running back for more.
I don't even know what's happening.
He saw the David Hasselhoff version.
Oh.
Which is, like you said, not great.
Yeah, online you can see like scenes, like different scenes with Constantine in there.
Cool.
Perfect. Rodney, would you like to do the honors for our next?
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have had 2/3 of what happened? We've had 2/3 of our. This is crazy. We've had 2/3 of our trio from Little Shop of Horrors. So we've got to round it out with the high note, Hanna Shihdanian. So welcome to the show, Hanna.
Thank you. Hi.
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 How are you?
Sure. I just had to out of the show so that I'm not echoing.
Oh.
I was watching along. Yay! I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. So thoughts on Jekyll and Hyde?
I haven't seen the Broadway version.
Have you seen any version?
No. I've just heard we sang some songs from it like in high school and in chorus and stuff. But no, I've never seen it.
It's got great music. That's the weird thing about it, is that the music is great. Like individually, these songs are amazing. Like Lucy's songs, the women's duet,
yeah.
the ensemble numbers, Murder and Facade, some of the coolest ensemble songs ever. But the show as a whole is like power ballad. Like it's exhausting, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah,
It's not
and
good.
I will say that's a show that we've talked a lot about ensemble driving the show and not just in the background. Like they drive, like the ensemble in this, I don't think was captured well enough, but you could tell, like, yes, that totally, without the Hoff up there, maybe would have driven that show. He was just very distracting. I don't know.
Also, it's a terrible role. Like, how do you do the like?
Yeah, I
without
kind of
looking like
looked
a
over at
moron?
Maddie at one point, and I was like, just I didn't even know what
Ridiculous.
to do. It was bad.
I just personally can't stand when shows plug in like big Hollywood movie stars that have no business like doing musical theater.
He had no business. You are not wrong.
It was
So
like the same
normally-
video of him sweating on stage in Jekyll and Hyde, and the same sweating when he was eating that cheeseburger drunk, you know?
Ew. Didn't his daughter take that video of him?
Yes.
Yeah,
Awful.
terrible.
Oh my god.
Hannah, normally we bring on the guests a little bit later, but next it's time for Rodney's cocktail, and it's a very special cocktail that it's in honor of you, so that's why we're bringing you on a little bit early. So Rodney, if you're ready.
All right. Yes, I am ready. So I don't usually do this, Hannah. I usually, if I have a theme, it's my own theme. But
He
whenever
makes
I
it
heard
all about him.
yeah, it's usually all about me. But whenever I heard that you were going to be on the show, I was like, oh, I need a cocktail in honor of Hanna Shihdanian. So I did a little research, and I found out that you were from the Boston area,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yeah.
That was not really hard research to do, because I mean, I kind of knew that already. And then Adrian told me, she said, whenever I asked in our chat, and I said, Shihdanian's from Boston, right? And she's like, oh yeah, her daughter described something as being wicked the other day. Definitely from Boston, definitely has that Boston.
That tickled me.
Yes, she was like, that's wicked good, or
It's
something
wicked
like
good. Yeah, so I don't know a whole lot about Boston other than like sports and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. So that shades everything. So
R.I.P. his new relationship.
yeah,
He and Anna de Armas broke up.
So the name of the drink is?
the name of the drink is the Hobbit. And this is a classic drink. I'm gonna stop with my Boston accent because it's just gonna be worse from here. But it's called the Harvard. So I figured that would be good because that's from the Boston area. And you're gonna start with some Angostura bitters, and I got orange for some reason, but it'll probably be fine. So 3 shakes there of the Angostura orange bitters. And then you have an ounce of sweet vermouth. This is basically a Manhattan but instead of whiskey, it's got brandy in it. So I got an ounce of that, and then I also heard that one of your favorite musicals is Cabaret, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in honor of Cabaret, I got a brandy from Germany. This is Asbach Uralt, 3-year brandy. It took me a lot of hunting to find this dude because most brandies or cognacs are from France. I found out while researching this that this company was actually around back in the day whenever France decided to say that you could not call cognac unless it came from the region of France, that's cognac's from.
Like they already tried to do with champagne.
Yeah, exactly. So then you're going to stir this. This is one of those drinks that you do not want to get cloudy or bruised by shaking. So I apologize for my loud stirring. It's probably quieter than my shaking.
Actually,
Rodney,
your
what
shaking
does it mean?
makes your mic clip out, and we don't hear anything. It's brilliant. I love it.
You like it whenever you can't hear me, huh?
Yep.
Rodney, what does it mean when a cocktail gets bruised?
I don't know. That's something that I heard on the internet.
It's liquid.
No, I think what it is it gets the spirit gets no, I don't know. I think mainly what happens is when you shake, you introduce a lot of air bubbles, and I think that's what bruises it. And it also makes the drink look cloudy. And this is going to be a drink you're going to serve without ice in a chilled glass, and it's going to have that rich amber color. You're going to garnish with the maraschino cherry, just like you would a Manhattan, but this is a little bit more sophisticated. It's a more intellectual drink than a Manhattan. Okay, the Manhattan is
an Ivy League, of course.
Exactly, it's very Ivy League. So there you have a Harvard, and let's give it a taste. It's very good.
The pinky went up too.
It's got a got to. It's not as whenever you have a Manhattan, usually you have it's very forward with the whiskey, and so the brandy is a little bit it's a little bit milder, a little bit I don't know. I feel like this is something that you would, sit on the couch with a good book.
Have with some apples.
Yeah. Watch you some Matt Damon, and you'll be good. So, in honor of you, Miss Shihdanian.
Thank you. I feel so special.
Hey, prosit. Prosit.
Prost.
I'm just really glad, Rodney. I'm glad you made the Harvard and not the Matt Dillon or Matt Damon. Have you ever had a Matt Damon before?
No.
No, but I'd like to.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, maybe like the human being, but not the drink Matt Damon.
Sorry, Mom.
Oh.
What's in the what's in the Matt Damon?
The Matt Damon is if you get like a really obnoxious like drunk person, the bartender takes the little mat, that's there, that's filled with all the alcohol, and pours it into a shot. Serves it. So yeah, don't order a Matt Damon.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Order it for the obnoxious guy.
Rodney, I have to tell you, so I won't say who it was, but someone last night basically started a drinking game while watching the open forum every time you weren't sure how to answer a question.
Oh, well, then they were blasted. I was watching it, and I didn't realize how often I say
I do, because I edit the podcast and I take out 80% of them.
But it could be I don't know. I think in my old age, my brain just does not process fast enough to avoid the word
It's so funny because I feel like I've gotten very familiar with all three of your little verbal eccentricities.
What are they?
Very familiar. What did you say, Mike?
What are they?
Well, one of my favorite things that Mike does when he's like not engaged in a conversation, but he has to speak yes, he'll have to speak next. He just goes crazy. All right.
Wow.
I have heard that one now.
Oh,
That's his transition, and it makes me laugh every time. Every time. Dana always, when he wants to tell a story, but he wants to take his time, everything is a question. So I really have to do like this. And my grandmother gave me the finger. Like everything is a question.
No
Oh my
way.
God. You're so right. You're so right.
It's so funny. And then, yeah, Rodney, you're the, yes, but, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't updated the processor in several decades. It's getting kind of slow.
What about you, Adrian?
Oh, I laugh all the time. I laugh. That's my transition. One of it's, filling space. One of it is I'm drinking during this, but I laugh all the time.
Yeah, you laughed at us last night the whole time. It was a little distracting.
Because I wasn't expecting a comedy duo. Like I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting, but then the second you two sat down and started talking, it was like a shtick, and I'm a fan, but I was very entertained, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
All right, let's get to Hannah. We just kind of ignored you. We brought you on and then ignored
Sorry,
you.
Hannah.
Talk about
So
us.
we're sharing with her.
But enough about you, more about us. No. Hannah,
Hi.
Mike has the first question.
All right. Okay, Hannah. I'm all
Crazy.
that first
Crazy.
question. Oh, crazy. All right. No. Okay, Hannah. How are you and Aiden doing now that you're outnumbered by children?
Oh my gosh. So the littlest one is the easiest one right now. I know it won't always be that that way, but thankfully Bear, his name is Bear, he just mainly sleeps like all day. So it doesn't so much feel like I'm wrangling 3 yet. I think it's just harder because my other 2 are just wanting to exercise their own independence. So everything is like, I want to do it, but I need your help. But I want to do it. No, but watch me do it. But I need your help. And I'm like, put your shoes on. Just put them on. Adrian actually stopped by my house the other day, and it was like a war zone, right, Adrian? It was like, yeah, I mean, I hadn't showered yet. The kitchen was like a disaster. I was trying to make these cake pops for this little girl's birthday, and like I couldn't do it. I needed her help, and the kids are literally running around circles screaming, and I've got like cake on my hands, and the dog is barking. Anyway, so yeah, that's how we're doing.
Wait.
I'm familiar. The other morning when I was having a meeting with Debbie and Susan, it was the day that Ryder and Hayden spent the night over here. So I was still in my pajamas, looked a mess, had like avocado in my hair and like across my shirt, and had children just running back and forth, and my mother who was just taking her time. Just kidding. I'm kidding. No, we were trying to get them out of the house because that was the day that they were moving, but it was chaos. And my house is not childproof by any means, not even a little bit.
How are you guys liking the new house, Hannah?
It's great being in the new house. This is the first time we've ever owned a house, so that's super awesome. And the first thing I thought when we bought it, I was like, oh, we can have like such great parties. Oh wait.
Oh wait. COVID.
Yeah, so I can't wait until the day where I can have some parties and have you all over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that too.
It's fabulous.
How do you spell Bear's name?
Like the animal, BEAR.
I didn't know if we had you here in Texas long enough to get, like a BEXAR.
That's my county.
Yeah. If you're from Bear County.
But everyone asks that. They're like, Bear, how do you spell that? I'm like the bear. Not like the paint company, right? BEHR.
And not,
Right.
Not
That's
like
great. Oh, yeah.
the aspirin
Very
company.
German. Yep, that's Bear.
Well, but that's how we say it down here.
Yeah, it's just Bear.
Bear.
Got any Bear aspirin?
Oh, Bear. Yeah.
Oh
No, that's not it.
So how did you even come to find TTC, being from Boston and whatnot?
Oh, well, you better believe I was on Google. I was like, okay, what's around? What's happening? And I think actually the first thing that I found was the Adam Pascal workshop. I found that somehow on the internet. And then that, I think, brought me to TTC's website. And then I was like, what? This is happening in this like tiny town? He's coming to this tiny town. And then I looked more into it, and I think, there were a bunch of production photos and stuff, and I was like, this looks really great. I'm going to check it out. And I came just in time to see Rock of Ages. So that was the first show
great.
that I saw. No, you know what? I was really impressed, and to be honest, and this is not going to sit well with a lot of people, I'm not a big fan of that show. Just the music is so fun, the dancing's so fun, but that's like it, right? Kind of.
It wasn't until we did it, and then I fell in love. But yeah, before we did it, I was like, it's a silly jukebox musical. But then when we did it, I was like, oh, this is kind of adorable.
Yeah.
So, Hannah, I know,
Lord, no.
like Adrian. What? Oh my Lord! I just have a legitimate question.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
So, like, Adrian was in Rock of Ages, like David Moreno, Madeline McLevish-Hughes, like. Out of all the cast, did anyone just like stand out to you, like for like their wonderful performance at all? Like just.
Mike, you seriously did stand out. I know you really did. I was like, wow, like they have men here that are actually like really good. And the other person that really stood out to me was Kelsey.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, obviously, she did really good.
But I was just like, dang, who is that? Like, she's a powerhouse. But also, I mean, the pole dancing, I was just like, it was just like, you pulled out all the stops, and the lighting and the choreography, and of course, Christina Freeman, and I mean, just everybody. I don't know, Madeline too. Madeline just sang the crap out of it.
That was her first show with us.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was her very first show.
It was a lot of people's first show, wasn't it? Carrie?
Yeah. Maddie, Carrie.
Carrie, yeah.
Yeah, so it just, I could tell that, like, quality was really important. Like, without ever talking to anyone, I was like, okay, they really care about, making the set really good. It doesn't have to be a huge budget. But they care about making it good quality. And I was like, okay, they have these LED lights, cool. The choreography was well done, and, the live orchestra. I don't know. I was just like, this is a place I wanna look into. So I reached out to Adrian, actually about a job. I was like, so do you have a choreographer for Joseph? And then sent a cover letter and my resume, and the rest is history. So.
Yeah, the tech from that show was all Chris Rogers. He tech directed the whole thing. So he did set design, he did lights, he did sound. Like he was amazing. That was a lot of fun. And I'm so glad you did. But how did y'all end up here from Boston?
Yeah, so Aiden, my husband, is not a very interesting story, but we moved down here for his job, which I think is what a lot of people say. And I was like, I don't want to be that person that's like, I'm following my husband around. But it was more like, he pitched it as an adventure, because I had been bugging him about moving, because I have spent all my life in New England. So I was like, we need to go see other things. We need to see other places. And Aiden was always like, well, we can't just up and move for no reason. And I was like, why not? People do that all the time. And so this job opportunity came up for him to open an office with NIFT, which supports small businesses, which actually right now their work is kind of vital right now, helping businesses stay open. So they chose College Station because of all the business grads coming out of A&M, and also like the tech startup boom hadn't really hit this area yet. It's kind of starting to. So yeah, I was very pregnant with Jamie, and he was like, so do you want to just quit all your jobs and move down to Texas and see how it goes? And I was like, all right, let's do it.
So did you have Jamie here, or did you have Jamie in New England?
Jamie was born in Boston, and we moved down here when he was 5 weeks old.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
and that was too.
what jobs did you have, since you said plural jobs?
Oh man, I had so many jobs. Because I didn't work one thing full time, so I was, a freelance choreographer at a bunch of different places, but also a resident choreographer with some children's theaters, some nonprofit children's theaters, which was my jam. So fun, so fun. And I was the director of community development for one of those nonprofits too. So working with the community and doing outreach programs, and also trying to get more kids in, because one of the actually both the nonprofits were in very, very affluent white areas of Boston. So trying to get, kids of different backgrounds and work with, scholarships and stuff like that. And then I also teach fitness. So I was working for Equinox, which is just like kind of a snooty, fancy gym. Yeah, which wasn't my favorite place to teach, but it paid the bills. And then I worked at the YMCA for 12 years. And that became like my family, and I'm still in touch with some of those folks, a lot of those folks actually. And then I was performing, so I was working as an actor too. And I think that's it. Yeah.
So you seem, I know you've done acting and we've heard your beautiful voice, but it seems like dance is like your focus, your passion. What is that true? And how did you find choreography and dance?
Well, I feel like I have a sordid past with dance because a lot of people don't know this, but like for the longest time I would say I'm not a dancer. I don't dance. I do musicals, but I don't dance. Up until I didn't take a dance class until high school, actually, to be honest. I took some when I was real, like the baby dance classes, and then something happened. I don't remember what. Something happened, and I told my mom I wanted to quit, and she let me quit. Which, as a parent now, I'm like, okay, if your kid hates something, you want to, honor their feelings, but at the same time, I'm like, why did she let me quit? I could be like such a brilliant dancer right now, but it's hard. It's hard to make that choice as a parent. So, my city where I grew up, everybody danced. All the boys danced. All the girls danced. I mean, I was in a show with 75 high school boys. Like a lot of them were on the football team, and they did this thing called dance theater. And it was just like an extracurricular. So you would rehearse after school and put on this like massive dance show. So I was big into sports. And so I quit basketball my senior year of high school to do this dance theater. And I had some of those dance teachers that ran that program that were like, Hannah, you need to stop saying that you're not a dancer. And you need to audition for this, that, the other thing. And you need to just do it because you can. And I personally, I was that kid, I needed somebody to tell me that, to believe it. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but it's true. And I feel like a lot of people need that. Just that, even if it's just one person to reinforce, hey, you can do it. And then that changes they changed my entire life because after that, I really pursued dance and theater, and I majored in theater in college, and we actually didn't have a musical theater program, so I majored in straight theater, like Shakespeare and monologues and all that stuff. And since graduating college, I have yet to do a straight play. I've only done musicals.
Nice.
That's how it works out. But yeah, so I think after college, it just sort of came down to there were just more jobs that had choreography attached to them, and then I was like, oh, I love this, and I especially love working with kids, so that just sort of took me along that path.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny you say that you quit dance to do sports, and I teased earlier about how my brain doesn't work very well, and my memory is going pretty bad. But I do remember as a kid, I loved Michael Jackson. In fact, I answered the other day. They said if you would have grown up to be what you wanted to be when you were a kid, what would it be? And I was like, I'd either be making cartoons or I'd be Michael Jackson. Like that's what I wanted to be. And so whenever we first moved to Bryan College Station, I asked my mom to put me in dance class because I'm not going to learn how to dance like Michael unless somebody shows me, right? And so I get into dance class and I like it, but I was also doing soccer at the same time. And I remember coming late to soccer practice and all the guys were like, why are you late? Where were you? And I was like, I was at dance class. And they were like, what? And of course they just gave me a hard time, as little boys do. And that was the end of the dance. And I was always just a subpar athlete because, for whatever reason, but, of all the things that I quit as a kid, dance was way up there. And the next one was piano. Like I shouldn't have ever quit those two things. But it's funny how as parents you're like, what are we going to push our kids to do and make them stick with, and why are we doing it? And so it's I think that our parents generation, they were like forced to do like piano, and until their fingers bled or whatever. And so then they kind of did a 180 on that, and we'll see what our generation does. But it's that's interesting. I like that side of the story.
Hannah, Rodney's story is very much Mike in a chorus line. I'm watching Cisco pitter pat, except instead of becoming a tap star, he quit.
Flat.
Although, I also think about the other side, and I'm like, well, maybe if I hadn't quit and I did it all those years, like maybe I wouldn't be so into it. Yeah. I went to it when I was ready. I was in high school. I mean, you're definitely old enough to choose what you want to do in high school. So, I told my mom, hey, I want to be put in dance class. And the dance classes that I was put in, this studio, for whatever reason, didn't have like beginner classes. They just had like tap. And they had leveled, jazz and ballet, but they didn't have like intro to this. So I was put in a tap class with women that had been tapping for like 20 years. So I'm in the back like shuffling my feet around and I'm like, please don't call on me, please don't call on me. And I basically just faked it until I caught on, and I was like, oh, I think I'm actually doing it now. So
I have yet to do that with tap. I have yet to been able to like master that. I went to because I essentially just learned like just from doing it in shows, and I watched a whole lot of like online classes, but I'm not good at it. And I remember I've been to a handful of in-person classes, and there was one that I went to, and immediately the instructor was like, all right, we need to nip this in the bud right now, because I was just doing everything wrong. Everything wrong.
Crazy.
Thank you. And on that note, my
Diva
no. All right, man. So do you have a dream like show that you want to choreograph, or even like a dream role like one day that you want to play?
Two different questions.
Yeah. I do have a dream role for sure. I have a bunch of them, but probably the biggest one probably is Sally Bowles in cabaret. I've done cabaret twice. Yes, I've done it twice, and played a different Kit Kat girl both times. And but yeah, I've yet to play Sally Bowles, which I would love to do someday when the time is right and the show is right. So, but to choreograph, I don't know if I have just like one in particular. I have a handful. Like I would love to do like Sweet Charity. I've done Chicago. I've actually never choreographed cabaret. So actually that might be a twofer.
Nice.
Yeah. When we did Chicago, it was me and Christy Petty. I would love to try to tackle that one again. And Sweet Charity was really, because we did that one at the theater, but it was really hard to do it without completely emulating like every original Fosse step. Because especially when you have things like the Frug, it's so ingrained, like what the expectation is, and it's so like bonkers and unique that it's hard to stray from it. It's really hard to kind of put your own stamp on it. Do you feel that when you choreograph a show, like the struggle between honoring, you know, the traditional steps and the way it was supposed to be done versus like what you feel like you would want to do creatively?
I have very strong opinions about what I think should be left alone and what I think, yeah. So, like, one is a chorus line, and I could do a whole show on a chorus line, but I won't take up all the time for that. But yeah, a chorus line to me, I feel like needs to be pure, and it always needs to be the same. And I know that there's so many people that are like, well, then how are you supposed to bring any, you know, acting choices or your own? And I'm like, when it comes to the choreo, you can take all the acting choices you want, but when it comes to the movement, it was so intentional and it was so specific to the period in which it was choreographed and also the style of the choreographer, and it's so iconic. So sure, you can go off and do your own version of chorus line. I just won't like it.
Who was the choreographer on Chorus Line originally?
Michael Bennett.
Michael Bennett. He has passed away. He passed away a while ago. So he probably would have put out a lot more art than he did because he died pretty young. But I had the honor actually of doing so I've done a chorus line 3 times, and all 3 times I've worked with someone who's worked with him.
Oh,
Wow.
Which is really amazing, like so cool. So the person that I worked with the last time, Leslie Woody's, she played Cassie, one of them. If you're gonna call her the main character, it's an ensemble show, but if you are gonna call one person the main character, it's gonna be Cassie. So she played the first Cassie on the national tour, the first national tour, and she was very, very insistent on even every acting beat being very specific to the original. So I wouldn't go that far, but she was very much like, this is pure and we have to keep it the way it is. And I also feel that way with Fosse, although I feel like Fosse's a little bit different because he had so many women that have played those roles like Roxy and Velma, and they've also morphed the choreography to be in their style, and he always like encouraged that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
So
R.I.P. and ranking.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I know.
Yeah. Do y'all want a funny Hanna story about the choreography of a chorus line?
Sure, we're down.
You might not even remember this. So there's this choreographer that I follow.
Oh God.
Dominique Kelly.
Oh God.
He's in the original cast of Bring in the Noise, Bring in the Funk in like the 90s. He's like this dancing savant, and he lives in LA because he choreographs for a lot of like movies and television shows and game shows and stuff like that. But he teaches dance classes, and he taught a jazz class and used the opening from a chorus line, which is iconic. Like those steps are so well known, but in a class he taught something and it was brand new jazz choreography, and I tagged a couple people in it. I was like, oh, Hanna, look at this. Lucas, look at this. And Hannah's response was like, oh, blasphemous. And he responded.
I meant it to be a joke. I meant it to be a joke.
Oh my gosh.
But out of context, I can't remember what he said, but he was like, what's the problem or something like that. And I was like, oh no, he does not get it. He doesn't get it. And then I think we said like, no, we're just saying that the original is amazing. Sorry.
Yeah, I seriously meant it as a joke. I really thought it was online. You can't tell how people land.
I know. I got it. I thought it was funny, but you're right. Like, it's so hard. And like, who knew that this person would actually be paying attention to the comments? Don't read the comments.
I know.
Come on. That was hilarious. Okay, so I know at the theater, choreograph some great things, choreograph some things that are not great. Do you have like a worst of, like, what's a show that you either hated choreographing or were embarrassed to have choreographed it?
Oh.
I can tell you mine while you're thinking. And sorry to every child who was involved in this, but Whistle Down the Wind, and we've talked about that show before. I'm sorry, but that was awful. There was like a song about children bringing the light to the world, but like it had nothing to do with the story. And I just had a bunch of kids running around. That was a show that I can't remember what we had just done. Like I think we had just done a like Rocky Horror plus something else show. So we had just, I think I just choreographed like 2 shows back to back. It was like crazy. And he didn't have anyone else. And so his exact text to me was like, I know I have big balls asking you this, but like, can you choreograph Whistle Down the Wind? And I was like, no. Yeah, we did it. We did it. Did you have any of those?
I like a show that I just really didn't want to choreograph.
Yeah, I have a few.
I don't know if I have any. I mean,
are you able to say no? I'm impressed.
I mean, so one of the children's theaters that I was working for, they had a lot of original shows, which was so fun, but also so challenging because like you really had to be creative because there's no, you can't like look at any references. You can't like listen to the music anywhere else. You can't,
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there were a few shows, for that where I was like, how do you expect me to like choreograph this? This is not a dance number. Like, but of course you couldn't say that because the music director literally wrote it. So
Wow.
so yeah, I guess it would be some of those original shows. But no, I don't know. I guess I've been lucky with.
That's good.
I've had a choice in what I've choreographed so far. So
That's something also to ask Christy Petty about because she was the one that ended up choreographing Randy's last original musical, Taking Liberty. But prior to Christy, we had like 2 other choreographers, and the first one did the opening as this like Alvin Ailey type dancing, and it was not what he had in mind. It was very interesting. Very interesting.
I want to know which one of the dads you're most scared to choreograph for.
Oh, that's a good question.
All of the above.
Yeah, because
I
I mean, Rodney, you got moves though, man.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but learning
Learning escapes me.
Learning is so hard.
what are you talking about? You're such an awesome dancer.
Yeah, but learning the actual steps, I'm faking it most of the time.
Well, you're faking it really well. I think maybe Dana only because he would give me pushback, but I'm not afraid of it. I think he would just be my biggest challenge because you're the one that I would say, Dana, you can do it. And I think you would say, I'm not sure. I don't think I can do it.
Okay, yeah,
you
you probably hit that nail on the head. Poor Sarah Black in freaking Little Shop. No, okay, wow. So I heard your knees crack, from here. Let's just only pretend we're gonna kneel, but save the kneel for the show. That's a literal conversation. Adrian was there. That's a conversation that happened.
Oh my gosh.
I appreciate that, but you're right. I think I dance around the house all the time, but no one's watching and no one's telling me what to do. And I think for me, I hear people like, what's Cynthia's boyfriend's name? Cameron was talking about he's a great mover, but not a good dancer. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm not even a good mover, but if there's anyone that can make me dance and do choreography, 1, 2, and 3 is Adrian, Hannah, and Sarah Black. So there you have it.
Love it.
Very good. I like that. I approve that answer. So we did. We were talking a little bit. I think I was talking with Adrian about this, and of course you've got amazing pictures on your Facebook page from the Donkey Show.
Whoa, what?
I don't know anything about that show. I don't know what it is. I know that my mom would probably blush to go see it. But tell us what is the Donkey Show and how are you involved with it?
Oh, the Donkey Show. My heart is with the Donkey Show. Actually, they made masks recently made out of costume material from the Donkey Show. So the Donkey Show was created by Diane Paulus. And if you're like, I don't know who that is, you know things that she's done. So she put Pippin on Broadway. She put Finding Neverland on Broadway, Waitress.
She's a genius.
What else of recent? She's the artistic director of the American Repertory Theater that put Six on Broadway. Anyway, so she and her husband, Randy Weiner, they wrote this show, The Donkey Show, so that people that wouldn't normally go to the theater but might go out to like a club experience would come see the show, and theater people that might not go out to a club would come see this show and bring them together. So it's an immersive experience, or it closed, but it was an immersive experience in a working nightclub, and it's loosely based on A Midsummer Night's Dream, but set in 1979 in Studio 54.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. If you can conceptualize that a little bit, it's hard to explain if you haven't seen it. So the actors are all around you, and they're wearing like the big, like Britney Spears, like mic headsets. And there's a disco ball, and we're improvising with the audience in the beginning, and then suddenly there's a working DJ, and suddenly the show begins. And so you're if you're in the audience, you're drinking. Oh my gosh, there's a scene happening over there, and now it's over there, and now the DJ is talking to me, and it's live DJ'd throughout the show, and all the main players, the main characters, are played by women. So the women play the male parts and the female parts, and everyone is double cast. So, for example, if I was playing Dimitri, or in Midsummer would be Demetrius, I would also double as Bottom, who gets turned into, I don't know if you're familiar with Midsummer, but he gets turned into a donkey. So Bottom was split into two characters, the Vinnies, who are like these disco guys who like love to pick up the chicks. They're Italian. They work at a car wash, and they talk like this. They have a really low voice, and they hit on all the ladies, and they have a big fro, and they this disco dancing, and they pick up all the fly chicks, and they wear the cool suits. And then you have Dimitri, who's like, hey, baby, you want to go in the back? I got some stuff for you. And he's like really sketchy. And then you've got Sander, who's Lysander, and he's like the prom king. He's like the head of the football team. And he's dating Mia, who's like pretty and innocent and like a virgin. Am I allowed to say that? Virgin. And and then Helen, who's just like Energizer Bunny, and she's obsessed with Dimitri, but Dimitri wants nothing to do with her. And then they all get mixed up in some extracurriculars. They all fall in love with the wrong people. And then in the end, all is well, because that's Shakespeare. But then you also have Titania, who's the queen of the fairies in Midsummer, but she's the queen of the nightclub. She's the girlfriend of the nightclub owner, Oberon. And she wears just pasties on the top. So that's probably the photos that you're talking about. So I auditioned for this show in 2013. I think 2013. And how the show was working was it was every single Saturday night, double shows, 7:30 and 10:30.
Wow.
And you would sign a 6-month contract, and you would have understudies. So if you had to go to a wedding, or if you were sick, or you took up another show, you would have your understudies. So I worked as the dance captain, and I helped with auditions and hiring. And it was directed by Diane Paulus, but she wasn't really around that much because she was kind of busy with Broadway things. But yeah, it was a huge part of my life, and I performed after I had all 3 kids, and they were totally cool with me performing pregnant even, and then coming back postpartum. And it was just an amazing experience because you became truly like family with the actors, which you feel in every show, but this was different because this has such a legacy of people that have gone through the show, which started in New York City and then ran in Boston for 10 years, and I was in it for 7. and yeah, it just being a new experience every night because of the interaction with the audience, and you would get people that wouldn't know that you were playing both characters. So in the end, the reveal, it was just like this shock and awe on their face, and that was like the most rewarding thing ever.
Have you seen it prior to auditioning? Mike, did you just say
He
crazy?
did. He totally said it.
Had you seen the show prior to auditioning for it?
I saw it a million times. I saw it a million times. And I was like their biggest fan. And we did have some people that auditioned for the show without having seen it, and they usually didn't do very well in auditions. Just because the show is just so specific, and you could be the greatest ever singer, dancer, actor, and the show would not be right for you. It was just a very specific skill set, I guess.
So you weren't surprised the first time they did a costume fitting and handed you pasties?
Well, so I wasn't cast first as Titania. I did some other roles before being cast as Titania. So Titania, you kind of have to work your way up to, I guess.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It takes the most confidence, and it takes the most dedication and trust, I guess. There's just a lot that goes with being topless in a public place. But the club itself felt so safe, and I never ever felt scared, and I never ever was touched inappropriately. Actually, no, that's not true. I was touched inappropriately one time while playing a male character because he actually was so drunk he thought I was actually a man. And so he tried to give me titty twisters, and I was like, okay.
That's fantastic. I mean, come on, that's amazing.
Yeah, and his girlfriend was like, that's a girl.
My gosh.
And of course, in the show, I couldn't break character and be like, I'm a girl. So I was just like, dude, like, what are you doing? It takes place in the 70s, so you could say something like, no homo. You can't say that now, but like in the spirit of the show, like, whoa, man,
yeah.
Whoa, man, are you trying to hit on me, man? Like, what are you? And anyway, so after the show was done, he came and found me when I was out of costume. He was like, I am so sorry. I thought you were a guy.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
You know how that went down. It was like, you're going to go find her, and you're going to apologize right now.
Yeah.
You inappropriate turd. Like, yeah. That's how that goes. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience, but that's how that goes.
Of course not.
Wow.
Yeah. And there were some men in the show, but they played the fairies, not, and it's not to be sarcastic, but actually the fairies of Midsummer. And they were probably the most important part of the show because they really helped with the storytelling, but they also helped manipulate the crowd. And they did a lot of heavy lifting, so they did a lot of lifts with each other and also lifting the women and making them feel secure when people are drunk and crazy and out of control sometimes.
What a dream job to like be in something that you are so invested in and that you love so much, and that it's a constant. Like, how many shows do we participate in where you think, oh, I could do this forever, but if you knew you could just once a week you got to do a show twice in a row, like if we could do that with Rocky, would that not be just the best ever?
Yeah,
So,
it was super special.
With the Donkey Show, I know that was like specific to ART, but is that like a package? Like, are there rights to the Donkey Show? Is that something that she would ever release?
They are released. Yeah, I don't know what they cost or anything like that, or what it looks like.
It's definitely like a post-COVID type thing, but like, I mean, even Christy was talking about doing some immersive stuff with the LaSalle. Like, immersive theater is like the next step, but you know, and different things on Broadway have kind of dabbled in it, and then there's things like Sleep No More. But we don't really have anything like that here. Andrew Robler and his company did an immersive thing downtown where it was definitely like a story that developed, and they utilized some downtown experiences. Am I boring you, Dana?
No. No, I've been up since 5:30. It's not you, it's me.
But yeah, something like the Donkey Show. I don't know, at Halo,
Well, when I saw the space at Third Floor Cantina, like that is perfect.
Ooh, okay.
Because it has a stage, but also a huge dance floor. So the donkey show also, it didn't have a set because it was just in the club, but we had these big, what were they? They were just big blocks that were on hydraulics. So they would pop up and you could roll them around the club. So we would use it as levels to be like above the crowd so you could see what was happening. But that, Third Floor Cantina, when I saw that for the first time, I was like, this is the place for the donkey show.
And I know the owner. We can make it happen.
Hey.
We would do
and
it in a
they already
heartbeat.
do burlesque, so I feel like they would be down.
Crazy.
No, knock on wood, post COVID, like, you know, when things take a turn for the better, like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing to have you kind of spearhead something like that here.
That'd be so fun.
Well, so
You've got 3 fairies already.
Talking about
You're ready to dance, ready to lift.
Yes.
What? No?
I felt like I was talking over you. I have no idea what you said.
Oh, no.
She just called you a fairy. So
Okay. Been called worse.
So why did it close?
So funny story. Last year? No, I feel like 2020. I'm like, what was that? So 2019, the stage manager called me and she was like, okay, this is really crazy, but like we have no one to play Titania tomorrow night. Will you come from Texas? We'll fly you in.
Oh my God. And
so I was like, duh, yes. So, but also I was like, oh my God, crap, I gotta do sit-ups right now. So they flew me in to do a show from Texas, and then it closed a couple months after that. So I think it was September 2019. After, and that was its 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well,
it was seriously heartbreaking. I felt like someone had died. Seriously.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine something that had been in your life for that long. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had a special ending show where it was just just alumni and cast and crew were invited. And Diane was there and she gave a really big speech, and I've just never cried so much in my life. I just wept. I was just so because they closed it on a high note. They didn't close it because it wasn't selling. They were just, I don't know. She was just anticipating it fizzling out, so she wanted to close it when it was doing well, I guess. I don't know. So that's what made it even harder, because I wasn't ready to say bye to it, even though I'm living in Texas. I just wasn't, I wasn't ready to say bye to it. But
well, so you do keep yourself busy. Can you talk a little bit about Hanna's dance community?
Yeah. So here in Bryan, I was working for a couple places teaching fitness. And when everything shut down really suddenly, we weren't offered any compensation or anything. Through Gold, I was working at Gold's Gym, and so through there I could get some unemployment, which was good. But other than that, I number one was going to lose my mind being at home with the kids, not working, because I need to work. I love working. And second, I felt like I needed to pull in some income, and I knew that Broadway was shut down, and I have a lot of friends who are on Broadway or working, in theater who didn't have jobs anymore. So I thought about creating a virtual community. And so I launched HDC, Hanna's Dance Community, and we have 8 instructors from different parts of the country teaching yoga, bar, Zumba, African dance, musical theater, jazz, I think I said yoga. Yeah, all different types of things. So it kind of blew up in a way that I didn't even know where it was going. I was just like, I have to do something. So, I have a website, and there are 10 classes via Zoom every week. And it's really fun because I get to reconnect with people from Boston, but then also these other teachers get to, connect with students around the country and also have a job.
So I'm trying to think of that timeline, what that looked like. Was this right after we kind of suspended Tuck stuff?
April
Yeah.
2020 is when I started. Yeah, when I launched the website. So I've been teaching virtually in March, just kind of like, on a Facebook group. I was like, oh, I'm teaching at this time. And then officially I started my site in April.
Mhm.
So yeah, when was
It was like
Tuck's-
right at the end of March we stopped Tuck rehearsals.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know, Hanna is our choreographer still. Is that right? For Tuck?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
hope
a
so.
question? Yes.
Maybe. I
Another question.
I'm hoping.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And we basically choreographed the whole pretty much the whole show, which feels like it didn't happen because it was so long ago. But yeah, people that you guys included, like, put in so much work with that show. But I think it was also what we needed at the time,
Mhm.
and it kept us connected
Yeah.
and involved. So I was happy to continue with the process, even if we had to do, Zoom rehearsals, which aren't ideal. But
I think that's the first show. How many shows? Okay, this is a multi question. How many shows and what shows have you choreographed at TTC, including Tuck?
just two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joseph and Tuck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My first show with you was you were the queen. I brought this up when I called you a couple days ago, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, who is this person?" Amazing as the queen. I'm saying a lot because I was like, this is incredible. And then I gotta say, like, my favorite thing seeing you in is part of the trio. I mean, I got no words. You guys just destroyed every like melting faces, as we say in the rock stage musician lingo. You melted faces, you three, with your stuff. And did you guys work that out on your own, or did she give you like some freedom with the roles and dance and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, she gave us a lot of set choreography, but then some things she let us kind of figure out on our own, but not too much. I mean, she gave us most of the choreography. Actually, who gave us the most wiggle room was Cynthia, actually.
Oh.
In like a great way, because she was like, this is not particularly my like forte of like singing, of music. She's like, y'all can like decide what you want to do, if you want to bring some extra flavor to it, because there are a couple different versions of Little Shop. So we, led by Carrie, we kind of all work together to kind of like workshop our version of it, which is kind of like a mixture of the two versions. And then we also added maybe some new stuff in, but that was new for me, like having that that sort of like teamwork aspect with Maddie and Carrie, which thank goodness, like the three of us really get along. I can imagine that might be like harder with different personalities working together like that. But it was really like 100% enjoyable, and really it gave us like a different sense of pride to be like, oh, we like figured that out.
Because we
You
would
guys
go
missed,
through the revival soundtrack and be like, this isn't in our version, but we really like it. And then the three of y'all would kind of take that and then adapt it to your voices and adapt it to what we have. Oh my goodness, to what we had.
Yeah. And it was just so fun to do that amount of singing, because I hadn't done that in a really long time, like singing like that in such close harmonies with two others. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, you guys
It
had
was
that. There's if you remember Wilson Phillips, the 3-part harmony, there's something about that that's very, I know Wilson, but I mean, come on, if you know what I'm talking about, there's something in that 3-part that's just like, it just hits you, and you guys were killing it. So yeah. Anyways, sorry, Mike, I keep talking over you every time you try to talk. Go ahead,
good.
talk now. You can.
It's all good. Y'all also missed Reno Sweeney and Anything Goes. And that was
Oh, I saw it.
y'all dropping like, holy moly. That's the first time I met Hannah. When I went up, I was like fangirling. I was just like, you did a great job in the line. I mean, it was hands down. So anyway,
Paul talked about that as being one of his favorites too, because it was hilarious. Everyone was just so solid. What's up, Caden? Brushing your teeth, dude.
And now there's video evidence of you. Like, do you ever brush your? Yes. Check episode 33 of the DivaDads, sir.
That was fun. You and Daniel Hill doing Friendship is one of my favorite memories of that.
That was so fun. Oh my gosh. I had so much fun playing off him every night. And that whole show was just such a blast. And I feel like it's the show that got away. Like, so many people didn't see that show. And I feel like that was such a perfect TTC show because it's such a crowd pleaser. Anything goes, you know, and it's just funny and it's just like lighthearted and there's nothing like deep or depressing about it. It's just like happy.
That's the struggle with our audience. Anything that they haven't seen before on our stage is unknown. So Anything Goes is this timeless classic, but we just hadn't done it before. So people are like, oh, I've never heard of it. Is that new? Like, it's very frustrating to have to constantly educate your audience. So like, no, this is kind of classic theater and it's also being done really well.
Yeah, David Manuel just said he loved Hanna in that one.
Sutton Foster is my all-time favorite.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment.
I just absolutely adore her. If I had 1 ounce of her talent, I would be happy. Seriously,
do. Stop it.
But that, honestly, I was really actually very, 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 very scared when I got that cast list. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm new here. Nobody knows me. Oh my gosh, she just put me in this big role. Like, but that was such a great experience because everyone was so welcoming and nobody was like, who is that? Or maybe behind my back, which is fine. But nobody was like, who's this new person coming in? Everyone was just so welcoming and friendly, and I appreciated it.
I always worry about that because someone who is hopefully going to be a guest on future podcasts, Molly Gasparini, now Burritts, she actually met her husband when we did Camelot the last time. But when she showed up, her first audition was Camelot, and she got cast as Guinevere. And one of her first, because I think Randy had called her to offer her the role, and one of her first questions was like, I'm flattered, but like, I know I'm new here. Like, is this going to rub anyone the wrong way? And he told her, watch out for Adrian Dobson.
Why does that not surprise me?
No, it was, and what's so funny is Molly and I laugh about it now because Molly literally was like, I don't know this girl, but apparently I'm supposed to watch out for her. And then we got to know each other. She was like, I don't know what but at that point he was like mad at me about something. I don't even know. So he told her to watch out for me.
That's fantastic.
I guess like moment of pride, but yeah. And I always wonder about that. You know, when someone new comes in, you know, this has happened like with Madeline McLevish Hughes. You always wonder, like, they're not being cast for no reason. They're being cast because they're coming in and they're the best fit for this role. You know, it doesn't mean someone else is not good. It just means that this is what works best for the show. But yeah, I always wonder because I know what I see from my point of view, but I know that I don't see everything.
Well, that happened with Hudson too, right? Like that was his first show was.
Yeah, but the boys aren't as mean.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
boys aren't as mean.
Or did people get mad at you, Dana, for coming in and stealing that role of quartet member? Did people bully you for that?
Actually, yes. I'm not going to talk about it on this. But yes, I had to deal with some stuff, and me being very fresh and new and not knowing who people were, I had to be a little reserved and not, yeah. I had to
Marcus
be
Villanueva, man, he'll get you.
No, it wasn't Marcus. I'm missing Marcus though, that kid. So everybody, at the bottom of the description of the YouTube video, you will see www.hannasdancecommunity.com, spelled out. I'm not going to spell it because I've had too much whiskey, but yes, it is on our website. Go check it out. Get you some classes. and support this wonderful artist that we have on our show tonight. Thank you so much, Hannah. I had a great time with this part of the, what is it called?
And her classes are so much fun.
Yeah, you've taken some classes?
Hell yeah, I have. Not enough, but.
You took my class a bunch at Gold's in person.
Yes.
Well, I
have a
think
hard
so.
time
I thought about doing it, but then I was like, if this is gonna be like tuck choreography, I don't know that I can do this because it's way too like I'm not.
You should do the Kinky Boots class if ever she revisits that choreography.
I would love to do that.
It's so much fun.
Yay! Everyone can do my classes. Also, it's online, or it's on Zoom, so you can just turn your video off, and who cares what you're doing?
Like
If you're having
rehearsals.
fun.
No doubt.
If you're sweating and you're smiling, then you're doing it right.
Ah,
Yes.
I'll take
So,
that into consideration.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to the next segment, but I will say this as a blanket statement, just in case Aiden can hear. Aiden, post-pandemic, we're coming after you. We've heard your skills, and you are freaking amazing. So just be warned, Aiden, if you can hear.
Yes, Rain on Me. Go check it out on Theater Company's YouTube channel.
You still have to buy a ticket for
You
it.
still have to buy a ticket for it. Revisit it if you already bought a ticket for it. But Aiden
Or buy a ticket
makes
for it.
an appearance with Hannah singing a duet, and it's fantastic. It's adorable. I mean, yeah, I was like, oh, like yeah, it was cool. Aiden was great.
Crazy.
Okay.
All right, folks, and I don't know why they let me do this because I always make up something, but we have our correspondent that always sits on the couch, Jennifer Riley, and her fun fact of the evening, folks.
Hey there, Diva Dads. It's Jen Riley, your fun fact correspondent. And today's fun fact has to do with why the buttons on women's shirts are on the left side while buttons on men's shirts are on the right side. This was something that popped into my head the other day, and I was like, I don't actually know why that is. And I looked it up, and there's actually not like a set rule, but there's a good amount of theories as to why this is. And for women, it likely dates back to the Renaissance and the Victorian era when buttons were introduced into women's high fashion. However, their outfits were very complicated, and it tended to be that women did not dress themselves, but they had a maid or a lady in waiting to help them. And so since the majority of people are right-handed, that meant that it was easier for the maid to be able to help dress them instead of the woman having to dress herself. Now, for men, it may date back to how military outfits were designed, where, again, with the majority of people being right-handed, if you had a sword drawn, it would be easier to mess with buttons if they were on the right side of the shirt with the left hand. And so that is why it's likely that men's shirts have the buttons on the right side. And so basically, this was an old tradition that just kind of stuck, and we still have buttons on opposite sides of shirts to this day. And that is the fun fact for today. I am so excited for this week's episode, and I will see y'all soon. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say that the best costume I ever had no buttons. It had a zipper up the front, and it was the shimmering blue with fur trim around the collar.
You're trying to make up for past mistakes.
It was a great costume, just not on me. Like, I'm very insecure, and it was terrible. But, yeah. Well, what's been your favorite costume, Hannah? Pasties. How free was that? I mean...
That's amazing. Mind blown.
I mean, freeing, but also very nerve-wracking. I mean, I was constantly like, I don't know, aware that I was going to have to be wearing that. And also, during quite a few months of doing the show, I had to pump at intermission. Or not intermission, but in between shows, and had to worry about that while wearing pasties. I was breastfeeding, so yeah.
You're a superwoman. I don't understand. Can I tell you my favorite costume Hannah's ever worn?
Queen.
When we were doing Joseph, she sent us some pictures from past productions of Joseph that she did. And during the Go, Go, Go Joseph, which is like this very 1970s thing, she's wearing the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen on anybody.
And you don't have that queued up to show us.
I don't, but I can.
This theater that I did a lot of shows with, they often rented like original costumes, and we had the costumes, I think, from the movie of Joseph.
Oh
and
my
they
God.
were just ridiculous. They were ridiculous. It had a hood.
It was a lot.
I look like Buzz Lightyear, kind of.
Buzz Lightyear.
She's not kidding. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to send it. All right. Okay, what's the favorite costume you've worn, though, other than what we see?
Oh gosh. I love that red dress in Anything Goes.
And Anything Goes?
Yeah. But I mean, also, basically all my costumes in Little Shop were so comfortable because they were kind of like street clothes other than the, like, gown.
Y'all look good.
Oh. Bear's going to make a quick appearance.
Yay! Mike, what are you doing? Did you just pull it up?
Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy.
That's cool. That is cool. Yes, I did. Sorry.
You.
Right.
Baby.
I'll share it.
It's your baby.
Oh my gosh. To infinity and beyond.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That's cool.
Yeah, you had sent it to me at some point, and then there was like a day months later where I think I was like having a bad day, or you were having a bad day, and I think I just resent you the picture. So before we wrap up, do you have any message or final parting notes for our theater company community that you are now?
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Bear does, obviously.
Just being a part of TTC has been such a huge part of why I've loved living here, or the main part. Buddy. Sorry, everybody. And just I've loved mainly the friendships that I've been able to make, and I think most people would say that. And I know that theater is not dead, and it's coming back, and it's going to be better than ever because we know now what we've missed.
Yeah.
And it's really shown us that that's like what's really important is like family, friends, connection. And I think theater is right up with those things because I feel like all of those are interconnected. So I feel confident that when we come back together, it'll be like super special.
Awesome.
Very well said.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Mike, Dana, Rodney, what's going on?
I don't know. Nobody highlighted this section, so I don't know who. It's
I
usually
did.
Mike.
Oh, I didn't. Whatever. I did everything
Go
else.
ahead,
We're
Rod.
all
Take us
lost.
out.
All right, guys. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and make sure that you follow us on social media. Also, look for us on your favorite podcast app. And if you are part of our Facebook group, then you will get a link here in just a few minutes to join us for Dads After Dark. So please do that. And what? I got
just
one more
want to
thing.
insert, like, we really want to get some things rolling with this show in the future over the next year. So if you would please be so kind as to subscribe to our YouTube channel, so that helps us get to a point where we can do more things. Thank you.
Like, share, just put it on your Amazon device as you leave the house and let it play on repeat.
Yeah,
All those things
Get
help.
those hours up. That's right. Go ahead, dude.
Anyway, we can get it. All
Like,
7 people play it as many times as possible.
If we can get to 1,000 listeners, we'll do t-shirts.
Yeah.
1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
We're at 62. We have over 350. We did hit a milestone this week. Our 500th podcast download. That's amazing.
Nice.
Thank you guys so much.
You think we should do like those giveaway
No.
glasses with the face logos on them? We could take y'all's off and just mine if you want.
Oh my gosh. Wrap it up.
I'm going to wrap it up because I forgot to highlight this part for you guys. And apparently, without instructions, you are lost. Thank you, the fabulous Hanna Shihdanian. Thank you, Bear, for making an appearance. It's been so nice talking to you guys and seeing your sweet faces. Tune in for Dads After Dark, and we will see you next week.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.